Next year, we have 4 rookies joining the Formula 1 grid, and we thought that we'd go through each of them and tell you who they are and where they came from. We're also going to talk about Colapinto because it's pretty certain he's going to get a seat at some point.
The problem is, right, is that because F1 is fucking stupid, they seem so adverse to adding another team onto the grid, we've got so much talent that's just waiting and wasting away. So not only have we got the 4 rookies that are joining, good for them, we've also got a bunch of other drivers that we'll cover in this video who we think should be on the grid but can't because there's only 10 teams and they're not letting anyone else join because they're all bastards.
What the fuck is that?
It's a baby.
I know it's a fucking baby. What's it doing here?
So first up, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, possibly the second coming of Christ. He might be the rookie with the most amount of hype we've ever seen, probably since Lewis Hamilton, at least. I don't know anyone in my time watching who's had this much talked about him. Bro is him.
I will save my opinions until the end.
You better do, you fucking dick. So much hype and probably a lot of pressure on him. For an 18-year-old as well. I mean, he was born in 2006, which is depressing. What the fuck am I doing with my life? He's won pretty much everything that he's competed in. I mean, his resume is fucking stacked. He is a winning machine. And ultimately, I mean, there's been a lot of controversy that, you know, he skipped Formula 3 and then is only doing 1 year in Formula 2. Before going into F1. I mean, in a 3-year gap, he's gone from Formula 4 to Formula 1, which is crazy.
Sounds a bit like Kimi Räikkönen.
Yes. Ultimately, I think he's done enough to deserve that seat. I mean, Prema haven't been there this year in Formula 2, so everyone's saying, oh, he's only 6th in the championship, but he doesn't deserve it. But, I mean, Behrman's going into F1, and look how much Kimi's dominating Behrman in the standings, his teammate. And I think Colapinto, who we'll touch on later with my wisest friend Rob, him showing what he can do and his talent in F1 proves that the standings in F2 aren't actually everything. Some people are expecting him to just get into that Mercedes seat and win the first race next season.
He could.
I'm not saying that's going to happen. I think he's going to give George a run for his money.
He's come a long way from the Mumbai Falcons.
Yes, the Mumbai Falcons, the greatest racing team of all time. I have their merch. Rob, you should just share your opinion on Antonelli now.
Okay, he's overhyped, overrated. Yes, he's been great in the lower championships, but I don't believe he'll be as good as everyone thinks he will. He'll flop, and he will never ever win a championship.
Evidence.
I just have that feeling. If he wins a championship, I will do some forfeit for you. I'm that confident he won't win anything. He'll win races and fight for a championship, but I've got a feeling he'll be a Daniel Ricciardo, where he'll be just that little bit, you know, off the pace and not win anything. That's my feeling.
It is outrageous to say he will never win a championship before we've even seen him complete a lap in Formula 1. Like,
he crashed the car because he was not afraid to push, which shows his mindset. He's a
dick because he crashed the car, mate.
He crashed the car because he was going for the lap record, and it shows the mindset. He's not going to get his confidence knocked by that crash or anything. He's going to go away, analyse what happened, and learn from it. And he's professional enough to just not let anything bother him. Not the hype, not everything that's being said in social media. He's had the best junior career for anyone that we've ever seen. If anyone's proven themselves before getting into F1 that they're going to win a championship, it's him.
No, he won't win one. He won't win one.
We'll see. But
you know what? If he does, we're printing out a picture of him and you're eating it.
If he doesn't win one, in return, I want both of you to get a tattoo of my face on your thighs.
No, I don't want your barnet on my leg.
Wanna chat about flow? Tell a fella come see me. Boy, you know magic on the mic. Houdini.
As Stu Pitstop's Essex resident, I am contractually obliged to back Ollie Bman, the man from Chelmsford, the man that moved from Chelmsford when he was 16 to go to Italy and drive for the Ferrari Driver Academy, but we won't talk about that. Ollie Bman joins the grid next year after a absolutely phenomenal drive in Saudi Arabia earlier this year because Carlos Sainz's appendix blew up. Currently stands 15th in the F1 Championship, which is crazy considering there are people that have been driving the entire year and haven't scored a point.
Shout out to the Saubers.
You guys were backing him so hard at the start of the year, it's so funny.
Oh, it looks dangerous.
Looks mean.
It look all. Yeah, we're right. It does look fast, but
It looks
it's just
shit.
Mate, an F1 car made out of cast iron and lead looks fast. Doesn't mean it is.
Ollie started karting at the age of 8, like most people, at Trent Valley Kart Club, where he finished in their little thing at 49th. But he didn't turn into Niels Coulinan. Instead, he carried on. A couple of years later, he won his first championship. Then he just started winning. He made it to Formula 4. He graduated to Formula 3. He graduated to Formula 2. And now he's graduating to Formula 1, driving for 2 separate teams in the same year. And to be perfectly honest, the guy does have the sauce. Would he have a seat if it weren't for the fact that he had to stand in for 2 different drivers this year? I don't know. I think he deserves it. I think he's going to be good.
Bman versus Ocon is going to be a fight for the ages.
It really is.
I think it's going to be very interesting having Ocon as your first teammate. Ocon, I think, receives too much hate. He hasn't got a good track record against his teammates in terms of getting a...
This is coming at a time where Haas are finally starting to get their shit together. I don't think his F2 season is worth talking about, but it doesn't really mean everything, does it? Because look at Antonelli. And look at Liam Lawson.
The guy that got me into racing. Like, the reason I became a racing driver. Oh, man. He's like my hero. Like, shake.
When Liam Lawson was in Formula 2, he hardly lit up the sheets. He did come 9th.
Sick. Pop bins, mate. That was
Oh no! Liam Lawson's first time of asking in Formula 2, he came 9th, which is hardly incredible. His second time of asking, he came 3rd. Wow! And in Super Formula, he came 2nd. However, we do not talk about Junior Series when we're talking about Liam Lawson, because last year, Daniel Ricciardo replaced Nick de Vries, who is possibly the biggest personality vacuum of an F1 driver I have ever seen in my life. But I'm so sorry, this is so unnecessary. But like, even in Drive to Survive, on that boat trip, you could see Adrian Newey and everyone else in Red Bull just kind of like staring out into the distance while he was yapping about, oh, yeah guys, we need to be really consistent and it's really important to work as part of a team.
His sister is more relevant in F1 because she's shagged 2 drivers.
Oh yeah.
Get that bag, sister.
I'm sorry, imagine being like Nick de Vries, coming home after losing your Red Bull seat and seeing Max Verstappen walk out your sister's room. I'm sorry. Right, anyway. I don't know why I'm going so hard on the guy. It's just because, like, at the start of his career...
He was shit.
Well, no, it's because everyone built him up as if he was going to be the next fucking Schumacher. The good one.
He won Formula E a couple of times. I'm sorry, I could do that with a mobility scooter.
He'd been racing for fucking ages, and he was shit. So he left. Daniel Ricciardo came back because he can smile, and broke his wrist immediately. And having successfully not killed Oscar Piastri, he was taken out of the seat so that he could heal his wrist, making it 2 drivers in 1 season to break their wrist.
The other?
Lance Stroll. That was last year, wasn't it?
I don't count him as a driver.
What did that mean? Well, Oscar Piastri survived! As a gift, his friend from across the pond got put into Daniel Ricciardo's seat. And he did absolutely brilliantly, considering Zandvoort that year was probably the most chaotic race in recent memory.
First driver to unlap himself against Max Verstappen.
Exactly. 13th, which is still respectable. Singapore was where he shone. He knocked Max Verstappen out of Q2, which at the time was about as impossible as... I don't know. Help me out, guys. Anyway, and then he came 9th in Singapore. Now we can talk about the complications and suggestions that had on Daniel Ricciardo. Doesn't matter anymore. He's lost his seat. So, Liam Lawson, for the second time, has stolen Daniel Ricciardo's seat. He will more than likely have a seat next year. Does he deserve to be there? I think he does.
As the resident Stu Pitstop Alpine supporter, it's been a struggle ever since I got into F1. It's sad. But it's my job to introduce the newest Alpine F1 graduate, Jack Doohan. Big up to our Australian fan, you know who you are. Jack Doohan is joining a prestigious list of previous graduates into F1, such as Kovalainen and Grosjean.
The only 2 graduates to ever leave the Alpine Academy.
It truly is a masterpiece of an academy. Jack Doohan this past season has been the reserve driver for Alpine, a position worse than death. In previous seasons, he's become runner-up to Joey Alders in the 2019-2020 F3 Asian Championship, progressing to Formula 3 following. And there he finished as a runner-up to Dennis Hauger. In Formula 2 in 2023, with Virtuosi, he finished third. And from that, he's now here. A driver totally forgotten by everyone else because who the fuck cares, honestly? He's got nothing noteworthy to his name.
That's mean.
Who cares about Jack Doohan because he's just so forgotten. Like, I always forget he's coming to the grid next season. I don't care.
Doohan would probably have more height if it weren't for the fact he was joining alongside Bearman and Antonelli. It doesn't exactly light up the scoreboard on paper. He hasn't won a championship since he was in karting, but does that matter?
Yes. He doesn't have the sauce. Otherwise, he'd have won something. Yeah, he's going to third second. No, I'm not going to back him. Yeah, my team is downhill, and I'm sad, and it's been running to the ground, and, I'm sad that Renault's not going to be, funding them engines anymore. But, like, out of all things, why are you getting this guy to be your new driver? Why not try and go for someone better? He's consistent. I mean, he's consistently okay, but there's nothing standout about him. He's nothing special, in my opinion.
I mean, we'll see. We didn't, if we judged Colapinto from before he was in F1, then it would be fairly mid. So.
Oh, it's just sad, man. Like, I support this team, but everything they do makes me want to, rip my own legs off.
Why your legs? Whoa! Out of nowhere, a new F1 driver's appeared. At the start of this year, no one in the world had heard of Franco Colapinto, except for the people that are really into feeder series. He hadn't exactly lit up any score sheets, but for some reason, Williams decided to take him instead of anyone else when Logan Sargent got sacked. It was a gamble, and the gamble paid off. So Rob, who is Franco Colapinto?
Well, I can't lie. He's Argentinian. Which means the Brazilian Grand Prix is going to be filled with absolutely zero Brazilians. It's going to be full of Argentinians. Bless up. Colapinto went from karting to junior Formula E in 2018. In 2019, he won the F4 Spanish Championship with Drive X. Bless up, Drive X. Don't know who you are. Then finished third in the Formula Renault Euro Cup and the Toyota Racing Series in 2020. Colapinto moved to endurance racing in 2021 for G-Drive Racing. Again, no idea who the hell you are. Progressed to Formula 3 in 2022, finishing fourth the following season with MP Motorsport, graduating to Formula 2. He's been a member of the Williams Driver Academy since 2023 and made his debut in Sargent, who was
Wikipedia,
No.
Yes, you are. I'm reading it with you.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I've no one else what to say.
You pit stop, the place of integrity.
Oh no! Do you know what it is? It's because Jamie just said everything else that I was going to say.
All right. Do you know what?
It was like I was sat here.
Tripping, bro. You tripping?
Well, I don't know where to start now. Brilliant.
Just
anyway,
talk.
Argentine heritage is where he's very proud of. He's the first Argentinian to drive in Formula 1 since Gaston Mazacan in 2001. Bless up, my guy. I don't know who you are. Forgot your name entirely. Waste of time. His dad had to sell their house to get into the lower categories of racing. Bless up, my man. That's dedication. Anyways,
stop saying bless up. He came out of fucking nowhere, and everyone loves him now. I love him. I think he's brilliant.
I love him. He's giving Albon a good fight as a rival in the team, which he's not had for any time in history. Albon's been there with Latifi and Sargent. Sorry, two of the most biggest waste of spaces and waste of seats I've ever seen in my life.
And can I just say that it's a little bit concerning because Albon hasn't really been tested in the Williams, as you just said. Suddenly, Colapinto is challenging him, and Colapinto isn't even the big challenge for Albon. Carlos Sainz will be next year, and if he's getting challenged by Colapinto, that either means Colapinto's a god, or Alex Albon's kind of not as good as people thought he was, really.
It also speaks volumes to what is the point of Formula 2 at this point.
F2 at this point is just a waiting room for F1. They just sat there waiting for their chance. It's not going to happen.
And if you don't already have a really good link to a team or someone in Formula 1, it doesn't matter.
Huh, great. Well, what do I win?
Nothing! Now get out!
What?
This brings us nicely onto the next segment of the video where we talk about drivers who we think should be in F1. I'd like to bring up a driver who I think absolutely should be on the grid, and is a victim of Papa Stroll and Aston Martin and the situation they have there. That being Filip Dragovic, who won the 2022 F2 title convincingly, and he had nowhere to go. I mean, he's linked with Aston Martin, he's their reserve driver, but as we know, really, that Lance is never going to lose that seat, no matter how badly he performs, you know. I mean, because Lance does 5 semi-okay non-taxi driver performances every year, it gives them an excuse to keep him on, and I think Dragovic is just never going to get on the grid. I'm hoping that now that Aston have committed to their hypercar program in the Le Mans series, Papa Stroll will be able to have a word with his son and go, hey, look, I don't really want you in the F1 team anymore, but instead of just firing you, how about, you know, you have a go at Le Mans? And that might convince Stroll to fuck off out of the quote-unquote pinnacle of motorsport. I had hope in Stroll when he first entered F1. I think we can all say that he is...
utterly shit.
Dragovic.
Yes.
Why do you think he deserves to be in Formula 1?
I mean, to put it simply, he's a Formula 2 championship winner. And that used to be a surefire way of earning your spot in F1. If you win the, you know, second step down from F1, then you deserve a seat in F1. That's how it used to work, and that's how it should work. You know, you've done all you can to prove that you deserve a spot in F1, and yet he ran out into a dead end, seemingly. There was nowhere else on the grid to go, and he got snapped up by Aston Martin as a reserve role. Now, that's fine for a year, but it seems like he's just going to be stuck there.
Yeah.
There's nowhere, and it pains me that, you know, out of the last however many F2 champions, you know, Porsche and Dragovic,
And probably whoever wins this year.
Yeah, Bortoletto seemingly isn't going to get one. Seemingly, if you win the F2 championship, that means fuck all.
Yeah.
That does not ensure your future at all in the sport, and that sits wrong with me. And that goes back to a topic that we love to talk about on this channel, where there should be more teams on in F1.
You said Bortoletto. I think that's another shout. I think that is someone that deserves at least a chance, because going last to first in Formula 2 is insane.
Again, it's looking like it's either Bortoletto or Haja who will win the F2 championship. And it's looking like neither of them are going to be on the grid.
This year, nothing on the grid changed, and we had drivers here that have been around for ages, and I'm so sorry to say this because I love them, but Bottas, Ricciardo, Joe.
Hey, people treat Joe like a rookie still, like, oh, give him a chance. It's been 3 years. What have you done? You can't even beat a fading Bottas, who himself shouldn't be in F1. If I was Sauber, turn into Audi soon, and I'm thinking, who do I want to represent my new F1 team going forward? We've got Hulkenberg, we've got the experience, so go for Colapinto, or go for Bortoletto, one or the other, but it can't be Bottas. It can't be Bottas. I think the problem comes down to the fact that drivers their careers are going on for longer and longer now, and that's just due to a plethora of things. But the fact is, there's not enough seats on the F1 grid to support that longevity and new talent coming up, and that's the problem.
Yes.
The fact is that it's far too difficult for new F1 teams to enter F1, mainly because for some unknown reason, the existing F1 teams have a say in whether or not another team should join F1. I don't think that should be the case. I don't think they should have that power. I get that there's not enough money to go around in the budget for another team, because it means that everyone gets a smaller slice. F1 have the power to just increase the budget to support another team. Lord knows they make the profit each year. It seems like every problem in F1 comes down to the same things.
It's been a video, so thanks for wasting your time with us. Bye-bye.
Bye.